Okay, folks, good evening. We're back at it again. And we're going to go right back to where we left off, which is some Soviet tanks right here. And let me get one thing before I get started. Before I forget to do this, we'll be right back. If I'm going off of memory, I think today, July the 5th, is the 80th anniversary of the start of the Battle of Kursk. If I remember correctly, I believe July the 5th is the day. That's the magic day. I have to look that up. Might as well do it now before nobody's on. I don't know why that rings a bell. Battle of Kursk. July 5th, yep. Yes, yes. Okay, well, if that's the case, then I'll just change the title on my video. Okay, that's what I thought. And of course, if you play some kind of games that involve video games that are frequently wrong, I believe there's one video game I played, not remember which one it is, but it was a Battle of Kursk scenario, and I got T-34-85s. I'm like, yeah, not available at the time. So this is what we have here. The three CHTZ turreted T-34s and the two T-34-85s. So we're going to set the T-34-85s off to the side. So we're comparing apples and apples. And let's take a look at finishing one of these and then going through there, because otherwise I'm going to get spread too thin. We need to do wheels, and we need to do tracks. So let's go ahead and finish one of these. And I have no idea what condition that the wet palette is in. I got stuff strewn everywhere. That's going to be my Saturday project, is to mess with that. Because I'm about to get invaded any moment with my big order from my unboxing. And I'm probably not going to mess with any of that stuff for a while, only because it's freaking huge. As long as somebody doesn't walk away with it at my doorstep, it's freaking huge order. And I couldn't just sit on the credit. I couldn't sit on the credit and then find out, okay, I'm ready to use it, and then, oh, this stuff isn't available anymore. Yeah, because the 1/72 scale stuff is not something that Noble Knight normally keeps in stock all the time. It's not super popular. It's just kind of a fluke why they even have it to begin with. Okay, so is this moisty? Yeah, let's moisten this a little bit more. It's like a freaking soup. No, we'll leave this alone. I have no idea how long this has been closed up. But luckily it does not smell profusely of mold. I went away for like 4 days, 3 days, 4 days, 3.5 days, something like that. And during the time I was gone, the refrigerator outside tripped trip the circuit. So we had all kinds of shit that went bad. But, if I was gone longer, there would have been even more stuff that went bad. But shit happens. Let's see. Let's find a brush that we're pretty comfortable doing these wheels with. Yeah, this should work fine. Yeah, we'll do the wheels first, then do the tracks. And let's get some magical drippings in the form of Flow-Aid. So when we get some folks in here, we're going to pose a question. Not too early, Kursk related. As I suspected, today was the 80th anniversary. And I don't even have any expectations of getting a lot of stuff done the next 3 or 4 days that the girls are gone. What I had not counted on was this lightning storms every evening. So it gets too stormy, we'll turn this off, which is the whole reason I wasn't on here last night. Hey, Nordic. Yeah, the whole reason I wasn't on here last night, it was just too... It set me back too late. I didn't want to start at 9 o'clock, so that's what it would have been. So you got a lot of photo etch coming, huh? I don't know. I'm gonna prove you wrong, and I'm gonna use epoxy to put a photo etch on. I just hate super glue. It's just so damn brittle. I mean, I'm sure there's some pieces I'm gonna have to use super glue, but I'm going to try to use epoxy as much as I can. I just have a lot more confidence in it. But those 4 kits that I got in yesterday, actually I got them in the day before yesterday. I was just out of town. I couldn't do the unboxing until yesterday. Are right on the heels with the unboxing of Unusual Size. So... guaranteed to be the biggest unboxing I'll ever do, because I'm just, I'm not going to spend $300 on stuff. That's basically what it turned into, is the credit. They said, oh yeah, the credit was going to be $150. I'm like, all right, I guess we'll make this work. And it ended up being, hey, congratulations, we're going to give you $300. I'm like, man, that's great. I can't say enough nice things about Noble Knight. Well, they can answer their emails a little faster, but that's about it. There's some stellar individuals. It could have just been like, well, we told them 150. That's what we're going to give them. You got your Sumerians going in painting alongside. Okay. The Hoffman. Happy Kursk Day to you. Having a lot of problems tonight connecting, it seems. Well, you're on. You missed the whole part before the super glue. Oh, well, I don't remember what it was. I said those 4 kits that I got in yesterday, or really the day before yesterday, I just was out of town. I couldn't do an unboxing. They're right on the heels of the unboxing of Unusual Size, which should be coming really soon, assuming that somebody doesn't lift it from the front of my doorstep, because it's been shipped to the house. And I've never had a problem with that. But it's probably the biggest unboxing I'll ever do. Because I'm never going to unbox $300 worth of stuff. Because you'd have to purchase $300 worth of stuff. And why would I buy that much stuff at once? And I can't just sit on the credit. I'm afraid of it. There's enough different things on there that I don't mind having that I went ahead to pull the trigger on it. And that's not even having any Brits. I decided not to get any Brit tanks at this point. I'm just going to get spread too thin. Just going to get spread way too thin. So I got plenty on my plate right now. Now, as long as you're continually working on something, it doesn't really matter what it is you're working on. I'm going to paint this in black, even though I'm going to come over and paint it rusty. Yeah, this is a Kursk period vehicle right here, so. One person connected. Looks like he got disconnected again. Yeah, I don't have any grandiose plans of getting anything in particular done in the 4 days the girls aren't here. Because I hadn't counted on the weather being a bitch. And I'm just not going to leave my computer connected to the wall outlet, even if I do or don't have a surge protector in a lightning storm. I'm just not going to do it. I don't care that it's insured. I don't want to go through the hassle of having to replace a computer. And I'll be jumping every time I hear lightning. Not a fan of that shit. However, I was in the ocean on a couple days ago, and all the people that I was with, I was surprised that they all had a bracelet around their, not all of them, but a third of the people had a bracelet around their ankle to some magnetic thing to ward off sharks. And I don't even think about sharks. You know, if I was chumming the water, sure, but don't blame you. I don't like sitting on store credit, especially if there are things that I want being sold at that moment in time. I received the book today, and they put a ticket letting me know that they also buy used books and offer store credit, so I'm going to explore that and ship off a bunch of old novels I don't want anymore, get books I want. I do have a surge protector, but it doesn't matter. Everything's grounded. I still won't take a shower in the freaking lightning storm. I am terrified of lightning. Absolutely terrified of lightning. Probably the thing I'm the most scared of, honestly. And the other day, a couple weeks ago, lightning hit within 100 feet of me at work. It's just, this place is just hell when it comes to lightning. And I went to Miami and it was even, the lightning storms were even worse down there. So, nope. Not scared of sharks, I'm scared of lightning. Yeah, well, the stuff that I want, that they have, you know, is 1/72nd scale, and that's not a scale that's necessarily popular. And, you know, I'd hate to wait, and then something's gone. So, you know. Yeah, they do buy books. As a matter of fact, they sent me a quote, and I sent them probably 8 or 9 things they hadn't even quoted me that I wanted to get rid of. There was space in the package. I'm like, okay, let me get rid of these books. I had a couple of Osprey Samurai compendium books that I frickin' got them on a whim, and because they had them like at Books A Million or something like that for like $10, and they suck. They suck because they give you all this vague samurai crap. You know, the samurai have a rich history, but Osprey books just don't capture all of it. It's like, you know, it's not very specific stuff. So I'm like, I just want these books gone. And like I said, they had given me a quote for X amount, and then ended up being 2X. So I'm pretty happy with them. Sharks are not on your mind outside of my being my favorite animals on the planet. Really? Now, I'd be nervous as a giant great white tiger or bull shark was around. Yeah, well, you don't know they're around. They're not really interested in you. And we were in really shallow water. I just wasn't thinking about it. It's not like I'm out there by myself. Now, there was lightning that was about 5 or 6 miles away. That I was worried about. Kept my eye on that. Everybody's scared of something, you know? I've seen the biggest mothers in the planet, and they're like, oh, spider. I'm like, look, spider, first of all, is tiny. You can outrun him. I mean, he's got 8 legs, but he uses them really poorly, you know? Everybody's scared of something. I don't know why people are so damn scared of spiders. You get away from one easy. You know, it's not like they're big hairy tarantulas or something like that, which, by the way, don't do anything, but they're, you know, they're hairy. Sharks, your favorite creatures on the planet, aside from hot blonde women and hot Asian women. Oh. Shark, huh? I forget they exist. I'll be honest with you. I just don't encounter them in my daily travels. We're going to need to put a piece of sprue there for the machine gun on that one. We can do that later. And the third one. Tiger sharks are the most menacing looking ones. Actually look pretty cool, but great whites are very gummy. Like a horse. Okay, so with it being the 80th anniversary at Kursk, what's your favorite Kursk trivia? What's your favorite Kursk trivia? It's all kinds of weird stuff that was at Kursk. The Soviets had Churchills. Su-152s made their debut. They had some Lees, some Lend-Lease Lees. A coffin for 7 brothers. I saw a book that came out recently that I was notified that that it went somewhere along the lines of that the German losses that they took weren't as crippling as they were originally thought. I'm like, okay, well, they still didn't ever gain the strategic initiative at any point. And it's debatable whether you would consider that the Germans had the strategic initiative at Kursk because the Soviets knew they were coming. Due to, hey, German intelligence breach. One of the many. And the Soviets had dug in everything there. Dug in T-34s, dug in crash booms, minefields. Introduction of tiger, panther, and Ferdinands en masse. Yeah, the tigers. The tigers were only in. There was one battalion that was up north. I want to say it was the 505th. Of course, when you think of Kursk, everybody's thinking about the south end. There's a north one petered out. The south end's got all the cool stuff except the Ferdinands. I want to say there was some Brumbars at Kursk, and they would have been in the north. I don't know why I'm thinking that's the case. But the Ferdinands were famous for the battle at Poniri, and they were in two different battalions. And one of the battalions, of course, the Ferdinands had no hull machine gun. One of the battalions had built a platform behind the superstructure of the Ferdinand for Panzer Grenadiers to hang out up there and give them some point defense against infantry. And also had MG42s that they fired through the breech of the 88 millimeter gun, which I'm sure they had a extremely narrow field of view. Best thing is just have them all the way behind. Also Nashorns. I think Nashorns were at Kursk too. I could be wrong, but that's kind of what I remember. Panthers were only attached to Grossdeutschland, the Grossdeutschland Panzer Grenadier Division, Panzer Division for all intents and practical purposes, and then in the Independent Panzer Brigade, which I think had like two Panther battalions, which was right next to the Grossdeutschland as well. And they had this knack for finding a minefield. So the Panthers didn't do very well at all at Kursk. The crews really didn't have much experience training on them. And it had all kinds of teething issues. I mean, it's probably more serious than that. I mean, cranking it up and the thing catching fire is more than a teething issue. That's a QC failure. I'm not really a Tiger tank fan. Not really a fanboy of the Tiger tank. Nashorn was too? Okay. That's what I thought. And I want to say the Brumbar was too. And this stockpiled stuff for a couple months, so. Of course, sold to the Soviets. I want to say the Nationals were in the north as well. All right, that's all. You're not a super fan of the Tiger, but I do like the look of it. So, I was looking at some decal sets for the Tiger. I wasn't specifically looking for them. I was looking for paint schemes on a T-34 and other stuff came in and came up. And one of the sets for the Tiger involved a lot of the tanks at Kursk. A fair number of them were gray, if it's to be believed. A fair number of them were gray with camouflage on them, so it was like a really big mishmash of things. Stuff that if you painted them that way, you'd be like, man, Tony doesn't know what the hell he's doing. That's obviously painted wrong, but if it's what is to be believed, there was a fair amount of them in gray color. You know how sometimes I talk about like, when you're doing paint schemes for like winter, sometimes winter paint schemes, if you do them correctly, they would look like shit. Because original ones did look like shit. But it's one of those things that if you do them that way, it's just not going to look right. It looks like you're just you don't know what you're doing. Brumbars also saw combat first time at Kursk. I'm a fan of the fact that so many German tanks made their debut at Kursk. Well, it's a recipe for disaster because the Germans are not the best at logistics and stuff. Maybe they just figured let's use them all together before they break down, and we have to use all kinds of different spare parts to get them there. Yeah, I want to say the Brumbars would have been in the north. Yeah, the Tigers were, Grossdeutschland had a company of them. Each one of the SS divisions had a company of them. And the battalion, the 503rd, which was 3 companies, was split up amongst 3 panzer divisions that were to the east of the SS Panzer Corps, which would have been like 13th, 7th, and 6th, something like that. I don't remember which ones they are, but they didn't operate in mass. They were actually spread out, and they ended up using them as Schwerpunkt, basically leading with the Tigers and the other tanks behind them. So hopefully Tigers would take some fire from the anti-tank guns because they're more survivable. I mean, crash booms can pretty much go through any Mark IV and Mark III. The Tigers are more resistant to them, except at close range or obviously a flank shot. I have to compare my notes to find exactly which 3 divisions it is, but Solly, you don't really know much about World War II besides the basics. World War II came after World War I. Oh, well. We're going to be talking about way too much advanced stuff then for you. Sturmpanzer Albetung, okay, 216 was first to receive Brumbar. They saw action at Kursk with 9th Army Group Center. Okay, so yep, in the north. Yep, I'm pretty sure the Nationals are at the north too. As a modeler and wargamer, that's the kind of shit I'm interested in. Now, one thing I really don't like about Kursk is I don't like their alternative Panzer Division symbols that they used. I'm not a fan of them. They're just weird. So if I was going to do markings on my tanks, I would not use the Kursk markings. Because they're just weird. And didn't fool anybody. You don't know this off the top of your head, for the record. You're just doing the research. Sorry, it gives you something to paint to. Well, I don't know anything about Sumerians. Yeah, I really don't. I know what their army list is. What rules are you using? You're not playing DBA, right? You're doing something else. I'm not going back to painting 15mm ancients anytime soon. I'm perfectly happy. I'm perfectly happy playing Lion Rampant and ways we've modified it for other periods with what I have, and don't feel the need really to build anything else for it. And there's many reasons for that. Probably the overwhelming one is that, Yeah, I just don't know who the hell's going to show up at our local games, and it kind of, it's kind of distressing to do all this extra work and then, oh, we can't do that. Well, the right people didn't show up. Well, how come? Oh, they didn't let us know until the last minute. The Nashorn is a nice looking vehicle. I don't think I have one coming though. I almost did. I don't think so. It's a perfect game. It's a perfect vehicle for a skirmish game. It's got no machine gun. So you do some kind of raid on it, and I do have one vehicle I've been wanting for a long time, and it's hard to get a hold of, and it's not an impressive vehicle. It's not a vehicle you're like, man, I can't wait to get one of those. It's kind of a shitty vehicle, honestly. Not heavily armed or anything. It's not even a tank. So, you're in the middle of choosing rules. I'm not going to be basing them anytime soon. Time to go to the phone and make dinner. I think you need to have somebody make dinner for you, and then you can paint. That's what I do. You don't want me making you dinner. Be way too basic. You better keep it down out there. Well, of all the 4th of Julys ever, the one I've celebrated the least was this year. I literally didn't do anything July 4th-ish. How the hell did I miss the wheels on this side painting them? Well, the track will be painted first on this side. Just have to paint around it. I had to work today, and because of that, and I was about 5.5 hours away yesterday morning, I needed to get on the road before it got crazy. And then just in time, I got here for the thunderstorms. I was able to film the video, the unboxing. That was about it. I was supposed to have them again today, but it looks pretty clear out there. We'll see if we can't make it to at least 9. But that unboxing I did yesterday, I won't be messing with that stuff for a little while. We gotta finish some of these things that we have open, or it's gonna be a mess. It's not like I don't like this stuff. I love those comments on my videos. A couple of people that have just seen them recently was like, "Oh, you got out of DBA as soon as I started getting into it." I'm like, well, let's see. I've been doing DBA for freaking 18 years. So yeah, you're like the most unlucky son of a bitch ever. I've done nothing but DBA for 18 years, and now you decide to get in on it? Oh well, enjoy the videos. Not like I'm going to take them down. A couple of years, there's a couple, 2 or 3 local folks, meaning could have easily gone to the game convention because they live close enough to it, started getting really interested And they just didn't show up the last 2 years at all. So, well, they'll still be DBA. I'm just not running any of it. And you could see how much of a pain in the butt it was. The guy that was going to take over and make everything all better and everything still doesn't have the scores out for everybody. Good luck. My work here is done. Okay, we gotta remember we gotta go back and put the rubber tires on that one side. Yeah, you can't even tell most of it when you end up weathering it. Oh, let's not forget little pieces of track here. Now we can set that off to the side. Man, I hope we got some better turnout tonight than this. I mean, I appreciate my regulars being in here, but I guess technically everybody's a regular. Hey Ben, well I was just mentioning it. Of all the years ever, this is the year where I literally did nothing for the 4th, other than drive back up from South Florida. I had to work today. Didn't do any fireworks, didn't eat any barbecue, didn't do, But that's okay, I still had a good time. It's still a day off, so. And luckily, we weren't open the 3rd, because that would have been stupid to go in one day and be back out the next, just to be back in again. Just another one of those holidays that should always be on a Saturday. Yeah, literally did nothing. And didn't paint. Because I'm just not motivated to paint unless I'm hanging out with you guys. It's just rather boring, honestly. And I didn't paint with you guys because we had a lightning storm. By the time it stopped, it was too late to start. So, shit happens. Now, I need to finish this stuff before the unboxing of unusual size shows up. And that's not even counting the ones that came in yesterday. You hate YouTube with an ad blocker. Too many ads. Without an ad blocker. Well, you could pay for that ad thing, but that's stupid. It's stupid to pay money for YouTube. You guys should only get ads when you're signing on. You shouldn't, none of your feed should be interrupted. You know what's worse than ads on television or YouTube? Radio ads. Although they're easy to avoid because you'd have to listen to radio to get them. But radio ads suck. I was thinking about converting Great Battles of History from GMT to miniature form. What do you think of that guy's rules writing? You like him? Whatever his name is? Who's that guy that... Can't think of what his name is right now. Richard Berg. I'm on your phone while I make food. All ads are annoying, especially those stupid Liberty Mutual commercials. Well, for Cranky Yankee Revolt Day celebration, I go to a new club I hadn't been to before, had a learning game of Volt Action. It was pretty fun. But Richard Berg has nice rules. Yeah, he's well known. I haven't played any of his stuff, though. Cranky Yankee. I wish we had the kind of taxes they were paying back then. They were revolting over. They were complaining about some ridiculously low amount of taxes. Not my ancestors. Sorry. They were Hannibal Rome versus Carthage card battle system to miniatures. How is that game? I heard good things about it. I have a feeling there's probably 3 or 4 games that I'm lumping into the same category, but it's the one that has Hannibal on the front of them, of the rules. Some of the guys in our group are all freaking excited because Games Workshop announced that Epic is back. Yeah, well, you know what Epic did? Yeah, it might be back, but they made it in freaking 8mm instead of 6. So, I'm not a Games Workshop person, and I don't see how I could ever be, because the business practices they do are just totally at odds with, the effort that I would put into their stuff. You know, be like, oh, we don't want you to play with that stuff anymore, even though we made it. Now you got to use this stuff. It's just totally at odds with somebody who's they just want you to throw money at the problem, and I got a problem with that. It reminded me of the 40K games I played a long time ago. I heard their vehicle rules are terrible. Like, all medium tanks are the same. Like, I'm out. I can't even handle all Shermans being the same. I can't even handle all 75 millimeter gunned Shermans being the same. Like, nope. Absolutely not. Go get your mom to play it. I'm out. Back to the Eastern Front. That's right. Happy Kursk Day. Well, it's not really a happy occasion, but yeah. Today is day one of banging your head into the wall. Okay, this one's complete. This one's complete. Save the tires on that. Or the road wheels, the rubber covered road wheels. They're not really tires. Do they have to be filled with air to be tires? If so, these certainly are not tires. I don't care for bolt action, and I played enough games of it to say it's not real historical gamers. You hate Rick Priestley's games. Well, what did he do? What's his latest thing? Black Powder? I don't know. I don't know who the Games Workshop authors are. I can't even comment on whether or not their rules are something I would like. I just know that the business model is like, oh, throw away all your old shit. You got to use the new stuff. And it doesn't matter who it is. I wouldn't be a fan of that crap either. Phil Barker said, oh, throw away all your other stuff. You got to make new ones, you know. No. Sorry, just because you don't value my time doesn't mean I don't value it. Yeah, I honestly don't know what the lineage of the people working at different companies. I mean, I know there's some people that, I mean, the Perry twins used to work for Games Workshop or Citadel, I think, and then they split off and did their own thing. Rick Priestley, same thing. There's some other folks who did the same kind of stuff. I can't keep track of them all because I'm not really a Games Workshop player, so I couldn't tell you, oh, this is that guy, and he's now making the other stuff. But I'm sure there's probably some original people at Games Workshop left. But who they are and what they're into, I couldn't tell you. I'm aiming for more chain of command myself, but I can't waltz in and impose demands. Yeah, chain of command would be a huge improvement. So your friends gave me the first board game I've had since Squad Leader ASL. Has anyone played Undaunted Stalingrad? I have not. The game looks interesting. Whether or not the gameplay is something that I find fascinating or not, I can't tell you. There's a game that came out several years ago that I thought was going to be right down my alley till I played it. And that was Heroes of Normandy. I liked the look of the game, and then I played a demo of it at Historicon, and I was like, this is a mess. But it still looks good, but I don't want to play it. Blackfather just as generic as Hail Caesar. I don't do games that have their own miniature lines. Yeah. I thought the North Africa one looks pretty cool. And don't they have like a Battle of Britain one too? I honestly don't know what the gameplay is. It always bothered me though, the Undaunted Normandy one, where they always did the cover in like they had to put the mandatory black troops in there, even though they didn't serve together. It was like, and it's like it's a shame that there was segregation, but there was, and it's like they're just going way over the top. It was almost like the guy in the Dirty Dozen. The British did that too. It's not like they had Nigerians in the 50th British Infantry Division. Studio WGS, welcome. Can't talk by phone. Yeah, can't type. Yeah, me neither. I said to my wife the other day, I think my thumbs are getting bigger. Nail Caesar must be a Cleopatra game. There you go. Not many old heads left at Games Workshop now. John Blanche, the lead art director, just retired, and Jervis Johnson left in 2021. And neither one of those two names rings a bell at all to me. I don't know too much about it. I was thinking of coupling my more skirmish level miniature games with some of the campaign. I think it looks pretty good. I mean, the art and stuff. I wish there was more board games that were ported to computer, to be honest with you. Those Drive on Moscow and the Battle of the Bulge are technically board games on computer, and I've played them so many times because you can just click and start. And learn by doing stuff. And then why didn't that work? Well, let me look at the rules. Oh, no wonder I'm an idiot, That's how I learn, not just, reading rules and hope to God I got it right. So yeah, I wish there was more board games ported like that. Because there's a lot of board games that I think look really attractive. Jervis was the lead on Warhammer Ancient Battles, and I got 4 or 5 of those books. Tabletop Sim. Yeah, but it doesn't do the rules for you. It's just moving pieces around. I bought that. Somebody conned me into buying it, and for a simple game, it warms my computer up completely. I could play the most detailed simulator with extra graphics, and as soon as I put Tabletop Simulator on there, you hear my fan going, and I used it because somebody talked me into getting it for playing DBA online. I played it one time, and it just didn't do it for me. Maybe if it appeals to somebody else, but yeah, it's just not my... Just not my thing. Hey, sometimes you buy something and it's a dud, and sometimes you buy it and it's a freaking, you play the living hell out of it. Need to find a solution for the Pacific Theater. Want to couple the air naval grander scale with some of the micro level skirmishes for campaigns like the Solomons. There was a computer game that came out about a couple years ago that everybody was raving about, and then apparently it had all kinds of bugs, and I don't know if they fixed it or not. It's made by, I want to say it's made by Killerfish, the same people that did the Atlantic Fleet, that kind of stuff, but I would have played it if it was in the Atlantic or the Mediterranean. Carriers just take the fun out of it. I know they're a great weapon and they were useful and all that, but I just can't get excited about carriers. Carriers are only exciting in a naval game when they're getting, say, bombarded by a couple of German battle cruisers. when surface ships get within range of them. So we would do surface actions that would have a carrier, and then the carrier would have to like launch towards the enemy. So it's kind of like that balance. How many aircraft can you get off before you start getting shelled? So what happened with GHQ? They just went explosively expensive the last couple years. Ever since they had those riots in Minneapolis, I think they had posted something like they had had a fire or something like that on their property during those riots that they had a couple of years ago in Minneapolis. No, I don't make this shit up. They posted it somewhere. Get this done with, and then we'll do the scratch phase. And then we can do the hand painting stuff. That's what we want to get to. So I went to this store in Miami and had such a bad experience that I feel like I had to write a review on them, and I did. And so I get down there and I'm like in Miami and I'm like, all right, are there any hobby stores left? So I find one and I'm just like, I didn't really need to buy anything. I got all kinds of shit coming, but I'm like, I needed to kill time down there. We got there early on Saturday and I'm like, let's see what's open. So I go down there and I go to this one place, and I go to their website, and I see that they have some plastic kits, and they got a bunch of railroad stuff there as well. So I go and find them, and I go to the place, and it was difficult to find, and it wasn't too terribly far away from where I was staying, but the traffic down there is just horrendous, so it took a lot longer than it should have. I get in there, and I'm like, and I get in, and it's like there's like a freaking desk and like a door. It's like almost like a reception area for like a dentist or something like that, but even smaller. And I'm like I walked into like somewhere I shouldn't even walk into, and I'm like, you guys don't have a store? I said no. And I said, well, it doesn't say on your website you don't. I said, you don't have any of the stuff that you show on your website? No, I don't have anything. I said, so you can't like walk in? No, this is just a warehouse. So like, that's not what their pictures showed. They just didn't want me going back there. So I freaking blasted them. I didn't, blast. I basically said, like, you need to update your pictures and let people know that, people can't walk in and just do window shopping. Because they apparently moved from like a storefront and now they're all, I don't know, maybe they want to deal in model railroads and fucking cocaine at the same time. And, they don't want people perusing their bags of cocaine they have back there. I don't know. It just seemed a little, and I'm just making that up. The guys just seemed like decent individual, just an older guy, but like that's not how you get people to buy stuff. If well, maybe he's the one guy in the hobby business that has so much business that he doesn't want people to go back there and look for anything. So. GHQ is now $14 a pack. I remember when they were $4.99, and at that price, I can get 3 times as many infantry for the same price. I don't care for 1 285th scale infantry by GHQ. They just aren't inspiring. I prefer the heroics and Ross guys or something else. Yeah, so my first experience to Miami was a bad one, as is always. I just don't, it's a beautiful place down there, but man, everybody's just nasty. Everybody's just nasty. Not everybody, but many folks you encounter are nasty. And I speak the language, so that's not the problem. But yeah, no, I don't, we don't have anything here. Well, I didn't buy a verbal vend. And I didn't buy I think they had an SDKFZ7 and a verbal wind that was shown on their website. No, I guess I didn't come home with those. Not like I really needed them. I would have just probably picked them up because they were there. Oh well. Customer no service. You love painting GHQ tanks, but hate 6mm everything else. I don't know. The planes aren't bad. Don't really have a use for them, but they look okay. You gonna order from them online? Which place? The place in Miami? No, they won't. I won't. I will make it a point not to order anything from them. Fuck them. I hope to go out of business. No, they only had like two things I was interested in, but you want to go to you want to walk through a store and like look what kits they have. I would have probably walked out with both of those things, even though I don't need them. They were like Revell kits. I didn't want them bad enough. It's bad enough that you can't like look at cars now. You're like, oh, you want to test drive this? You got to like pre-order a car. Pre-order a car? What kind of America is this? You know. You're recently watching a video on the history of Tamiya and Hasegawa on YouTube, so there's a slight urge to 135th, but those are too big. Hasegawa doesn't do 135th, do they? I don't remember them doing 135th. Of course, the last time I left modeling, Tamiya didn't do 148th. And now that's like a big thing. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm fine with 135th. I'm fine with 172nd. But I don't have a use for 144th or 148th or 132nd or... I am so used to 172nd. Amen, brother. Yeah, the 172nd, the tanks are a reasonable size. The planes are a reasonable size. 148th, I guess, would be okay with tanks, but they just didn't have the variety. The only company back then that would make them was, I think Bandai would make them or something like that, and they weren't very good. Bandai! Make you want to go charge into a model kit. Bandai! I saw a walkthrough that somebody did, a video on YouTube, at the Airfix place, and I thought it was fascinating. I thought it was fascinating. It could have had more detail, but it worked for what I got to see. Rubicon. I'm jealous of the Rubicon models, the decaling that they get. But I would do 148th before I do 156. I don't do 28mm nothing. I would do 148 before I do 156. Yeah, the Rubicon stuff. They give you like multiple versions of the tank, freaking decals galore. You don't have to buy any extra decals. Well, joke's on them. I'm hand painting mine, so. But yeah, they seem like a really good deal. Yeah, they are. They really are. Those lucky bastards that do that, with all the decal options and stuff. And I don't expect people to turn around and do 1/72nd scale. 1/72nd scale is kind of a has been. But that's what I started with. That's the stuff that I have a bunch of. And I bought even more. So if I wasn't fully vested in 1/72nd scale, by God, I'm even more fully vested in it now. Okay. Rinse this off. Tony, you saw your unboxing video on the T26 variants. Those kits look really good. I've never heard of the maker. Looking forward to seeing the build. It's going to be a while. Well, I don't say that because I enjoy building the models, even if I set them off to the side and do them. But I need to finish these 5 tanks. I've got too many things on there. Yeah, I think that they have a ton of photo etch, and I can't wait to get into that because I actually don't mind it. I don't mind it, And I like building stuff that people don't see. I just couldn't pass them up on the price. I mean, 2 of them were like 2 tanks for $550. It was at $550, and I'm like, I sniped it for $6. I'm like, I'm taking them home with me. And look, here's the reality: is some other bloke was going to buy them, and he was going to do a shittier job painting them than I was. Okay, I just did everybody a favor and just took them from them. And then the other one was the flamethrower ones, because I've got another flamethrower, not to steal my own thunder, but I have another flamethrower tank coming from Noble Knight, and this is the more modern turret. So the T26 is actually coming real handy because I've got the ones with the earlier turret that I'm not really fond of. I like the more sloped armor on the T26 and the BT7. I think it looks so much better. The BT7 with a sloped turret is really an attractive vehicle. From a wargaming standpoint, not from being in that tin can. None of them are attractive from being inside of a tin can. Yeah, there's no freaking holes drilled in here. Those sons of bitches. Did I drill them in the other tanks? I know I built at least one CHTZ 234 76. I bet I did. Maybe I didn't. If I didn't, then I'm not going to drill this one out. I didn't. I'm not going to drill it out. I'm just going to be consistent. That was a slacker move. Well, the reality is I can always drill them out later. No, I'm not going to get bogged down by that. Okay, well. Yeah, I do want to put those little guys together. I like putting together models that people don't normally see. So. I know people don't want to see videos of me putting models together, but I'm not gonna work on stuff and I'm not hanging out with you guys. It's just boring. I just get bored. I absolutely get bored if I'm not doing that socially. I know this is a limited amount of social interaction, but it's enough that it's much better than not doing it. Okay, so I'm gonna actually grab a 234 so that they look, at least the coloring is consistent. And I might as well grab a CHTZ one while I'm at it, even though I'm trying to do this without any glasses on. God help me. No, not that one. No, I've done at least one of them. It's kind of hard to see in the back. These are the Skytrex ones. Also Skytrex. Skytrex. Alright, I gotta put my glasses on. I want to say I've done two of them. Huh? Well, I know I'm going crazy. I just didn't realize I was picking up speed like this. I don't see them here. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. That's a Skytrex. These are the early ones. Well, this will work. Just for coloration. I know, because I know I have four of them. Oh. I'm going crazy. All right, I want the representative coloration. I like how these turned out. I think we've got to do scratches next. And forced highlighting. Yeah. Okay. Keep that handy. You must confess, I've never built a kit with photo etch parts, but now have one from UM. It's a TWIM T26 rail car. It's you and the other multiverse that drilled them. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. Well, it's not, it doesn't really bother me that much. Yeah. Multiverse. God. That's even gone over to this talk. Okay, let's get the Russian green. Should be this one. Nope. Yep. Oh, this is the earlier one. I guess I turned this lamp off. I shouldn't have. I know I've done a Chelyabinsk one. I just don't know why it's not there. I know I've done one. Here's the Germans in the U.S. That's all Germans. That's yellow Germans as opposed to gray Germans. I don't know where the F it is. So, I don't know what happened to them. Oh well. Oh, this is not the one that we had. Let's look for the Russian green. This is a mess. Or, this looks like everybody else's painting area. It's not mine. Green should be here. I want to get the exact same one that I used. Just for good measure. One night with all the damn noise. Okay, it's not any of those. Nope. Nope. Brown violet, US olive drab. I really wish they hadn't changed their colors. They changed them just slightly. And this could work in a pinch. But I know I have that other color. Here. Should be with the blues. Okay, I don't think it's in here. So where the hell did I take it to? What the hell's it doing with the browns? Yeah, these actually, they look more different than they really are. They actually look significantly different here, but they're not, they're actually closer than that. This is the old Russian green. This is the new one, and I painted it with the new one, so. All right, camouflage olive green is $8.94, and the Russian green was $8.94. So we're gonna put some here, and we're gonna grab dark sand, which should be this one. Nope, that's buff. That's its cousin. They're nearly the same. Dark sand. The future awaits you. I'm my own nemesis. And we're going to put a drop of the magic drippings that's easy to access from this end. And then we're going to get a brush that is a lot finer than these other ones that we're using. That one's not bad. Just going to put one turret up here. I'm going to make sure that this stuff is highlighted. Even though we're going to dry brush a dust layer on top of this, we want to make sure that these edges pop. Just saw there was a new ad for some Eastern Front movie. I don't know. I don't remember what it's called, The Last Stand or something like that. Maybe it's been out for a while, but I just saw it. There was a advertising for it. I caught part of it. I'm like, I just can't watch Russian films. They're just so disingenuously hokey. Mr. Barnes, welcome. Night Owl Barnes. It's the Barnes Owl. I wonder how many people got injured yesterday by doing stupid shit with fireworks. Fireworks used to be cheap. They're not cheap anymore. AES plus fireworks are some of my favorite videos to watch. Yeah. I mean, those things are dangerous as it is. I mean, think of the country of origin where those things are made at. Not exactly, QC paradise, you know. I think they're more dangerous than firearms. I mean, you know which way the firearm's going to go. You don't know which way one of those things is going to go. I spent I spent some time against my wishes watching television this weekend, and I just realized that I don't know why anybody would think that it's worth their time at all to watch any television whatsoever. And I'm not talking about, you know, I'm not talking about Black Mirror. I'm talking about stuff that pretends to be a show that's not staged. Like the whole thing is like staged. It's like freaking like everything that pretends to be like a reality show or whatever is just like wrestling. It's all bullshit. It's all prearranged. They've already decided who the winners and the losers are going to be, and you're just a dumbass along for the ride. I just really just don't like television. There's really nothing to think about. You're just a zombie. Firing a broadside. Don't know where you're going with that. TV is really the bottom of the barrel. It is. It is. I was stuck in a room with people that were watching it, and they got the TV going all the freaking time, constantly, and they're not even watching it. I'm like, I'm going crazy, you know? Thank goodness I'm hard of hearing. Made the New Year's resolution to watch less TV and read more books. Yep. I don't know if I could watch less TV. I just really don't. I don't know if I can. I don't watch any. I mean, I'd watch more TV if there's more stuff like Black Mirror and stuff that gives you something to think about. But just mindless shit, especially like, you know, something that's like a reality show that isn't supposed to be a reality show, that's just, you know, like, it's all staged. You know, I got stuck watching those guys that were fixing a house for somebody famous. And it's all freaking staged. It's all just complete bullshit. You know, it'd be one thing if it was like, you know, hidden camera. Okay, show me the hidden camera, what went on. Nah, it's all edited and modified, and you're seeing what they want you to see. Be right back. So what I need to do is, whenever that stuff comes in, and there's a lot of it, I'm not going to get sidetracked by putting any of that together. It's not like it's going to go bad or anything, you know? It's not like it's going to go bad. Jesus, how's it 9 o'clock already? All right, well, I got a half hour in me. So let's see what we can knock out in half an hour. I got one of the people whose house I stayed at is a TV addict. That's all they do all day long is watch television. It's like not even stuff that they're necessarily really interested in. It just rots your freaking brain. Oh, this is the hull I was working on. Well, tweedledee me. Just got back from work, been watching on your iPad. Wife watches some of the soaps over here, drives me up the wall having to listen to them. They're all the same thing. Everybody's sleeping with everybody. Only reality shows I like are Deadliest Catch, it's all fake. Wicked Tuna, fake. Life Below Zero, fake. Railroad Alaska, fake. Shift camera. Oh yeah, okay. How about, there we go. I don't know, playing video games doesn't necessarily rot your brain. You're making decisions. Depends what you're doing with a video game. I mean, it's not painting stuff, but I'm perfectly happy getting my. Really? You're gonna do fireworks today too? I can get my game fix playing video games. It doesn't make up for this, but But I'm making decisions when I'm playing a video game. I'm not just like pressing buttons. But I'm not interested in just any video game. It depends. I dislike most video games, to be fair. As a matter of fact, the less decisions you're allowed to make in a game, the less interested I'm interested in playing it. Stuff that's really linear, you know, it just doesn't do it for me. So of course we're going to weather on top of this. I like having these subtle details underneath there that's going to end up getting weathered over. And of course we're going to put some of the dark stuff, the wash and the vents and stuff like that. You can make T-34s look interesting. This whole like, oh, they got to be green and that's it. I'm like, well, no wonder nobody wants to play the Russians. Nobody wants to play a vehicle that looks the same as everybody else's. You know, several people who need to play 16 hours of video games a day, or they get pissy and it's utterly stupid. Here's the funny thing is, if I play video games for too long, I get pissy. Because you don't have anything to show for it. It's fun for like an hour. You know, but after that, you know, make some bed springs to put on the side of one of those T-34s. Nah. This, they only use those in frickin' Berlin. They didn't use them on these at all. They used them in these guys. No. Now, when we get other ones, we'll get that. I got too many tanks to do that kind of. Besides, it looks stupid. I need to have some Stalingrad T-34s that have no paint on them, too. No. Okay. That one's done for labeling. Let's do this one for... I probably should just label this one. Let's do that. Let's finish one all the way. Because one of the things I think I'm really proud of is my hand painting shit. I enjoy that. Now, we can go to my phone, because I spent like 3 days looking at this. I probably gave myself like a freaking crippled neck because of it. Who the hell sent me freaking messages? What are these motherfuckers? Okay. All right. This can be turned off. Okay, good. No, I don't have tank. Actually, I do have tank riders, but I'm not going to use them. I'm actually probably going to put them on pennies. How are you going to label and know which guy's which guy? So I'm probably going to put them on pennies and put them on the ground and stuff. They're nice looking figures. And they're a mixture of pepechas and rifles. All right, so let's go to the people sending me stuff on my personal phone. They shouldn't be sending on my personal phone. I'll leave it at that. Let's go. Let's go to pictures. These are T-34-85s. So are these. So are these. You kidding me? I don't have any T-34-76s with the Chelyabinsk ones that I saved. Oh, now that I think about it, it was getting pretty difficult to find new drawings of them. All right, let's do this. God, this light is so damn powerful. All right, let's do this. Let's go. Let me open up my Pinterest, which is where it needs to be anyways. Why did this get unlogged? There we go. T-34 76 CHTZ. All right. There aren't that many left. Well, there's a lot of them that just looks, I don't care for them. And I could come up with them on my own, but not really interested in doing that. All right, we've already did number 14. And there's actually not that very many models of them. I know that Tamiya makes one of them. Tamiya makes one of them. I like this one a lot. I don't know if it's legit. I don't know if it's legit, but I'm going to roll with it. Because I'm a fan of anything that has any kind of details on the roof. Yeah, I don't mind doing the one that has the open hatch that way. It's got a triangle on the roof. Let's grab some white on here. Just has a number 3 and a circle on the turret. And a triangle on the roof. Like putting a little bit of black in it so it becomes like a gray. It gives you something to work up from. I don't have the view of what you guys are saying, so hopefully you guys aren't coming up with something really brilliant. Okay, the point's going to go about here in the middle. Okay, and it's going to go halfway to that hatch and halfway to this one too, and then across more than the middle point. All right, so when we go over here, it's going to be like that. All right. So we're going to fill that in. And on the side of the turret, in front of this little notch, it's not going to be very big if it's in front of that little notch. We've got to put a 3 in a circle. All right, well, let's make the circle first. Okay, little circle like so. And then we'll do the same thing on the other side, and then we can put the camera back on, or at least then on the screen so I can see it. Okay, little circle on both sides. And the 3 style, going to be a straight top. Got a little bit more of that. Okay. Now let's switch off the screen and... Okay, Tony, are you interested in watching a new Indiana Jones movie? No. I'll watch it when it's free. Well, I don't spend a single freaking dime on it because, yeah. Visited 2 out of my area FLGS in the weekend. Wall-to-wall Games Workshop. What a wasted trip. Yeah. Yeah, a couple guys in my group are super excited about Epic coming back. Even though it's freaking the wrong scale. They rescaled it. What a dick move. You know, I can understand why people like Games Workshop stuff. I really can. I can't understand why they're a fanboy of them and basically kiss kiss the ground they walk on. Because they do all kinds of decisions that are anti-consumer. They really do. I mean, they're like... I mean, I understand why they make the decisions, but, you know, to be happy with them, I'm like, well, that's just what it is. We just got to keep kissing their ass, you know? What's Epic? Like Epic 40K. It's like 6mm. It was like 6mm 40K. I don't like how that's behaving. Let's come over to here. So they made it a different scale. So if you have the old stuff, you can't use the old stuff with it because it's the wrong scale. It's like, well, you got to buy new stuff. Yeah, it's just decisions like that they don't have your interest in heart, you know? They just basically just want followers that are like obedient people. Instead of like, okay, let's make it the same scale and we'll re-release the same stuff that we have and then, you know, we'll do some other races and stuff. Nope. Waiting the old rule release of the Bretonnian Knights and the Tomb Kings, they'll be in 32mm. You can't use them. Nope. You're giving them a chance, Nordic. They're just going to screw you. And, you know, I actually understand them being the price point that they are. They spend a lot of money on advertising, okay? I understand the price point. I just don't understand the whole anti-consumer kind of shit, you know? So I give it 3 years. In 3 years, they probably won't support the Epic stuff anymore. I hope I'm wrong. I don't want the consumer to get bent. That's why I'm out here playing the scale that I want, the rule set that I want, which happens to be out of print, and you know, and then the heck with it. It takes me too long to get things painted to have some nerd burglar. There it is, Rick. There's the nerd burglar the sighting. Just basically fritter away my time. Zero faith in them. Those two factions love the most, and they blew them up for giggles. Games Workshop's all about creating a lack of products so they could charge more. Yeah, I don't know. I'm just glad they don't do historicals. I actually did have some epic stuff. I never did anything with it. They were demons. And, you know, I was tempted by the fabulous painters that they have in White Dwarf. They have fabulous painters. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But before I ever did anything with them, they had already discontinued the game. However, it's not Epic 40K, it's 30K. Huh? And they went with the new scale so it would be compatible with Aeronautica and Titanica. So I understand the decision. Yeah. Well, I don't know anything about it other than the people in my group. People in my group called it 40K. So I'll tell them they're idiots next time I see them. They don't know what they're talking about. I just don't understand why they don't support their own stuff for a longer period of time. I mean, you'd think they would be more interested in that because they've made an effort to make the molds. Like, dude, like use them for a while. Not like we don't want people playing this anymore. 30K is a Horus heresy. It's Chinese to me. I don't know what that is. I don't know what the fake history is. I'm a make believe kingdom. Did y'all ever go through with the Discord server? I know you're not talking about me. I've had one experience with Discord and it was not happy. I couldn't turn the damn thing off. The problem with Discord is, and I'm not saying it's necessarily you guys, but there's people that don't know how to behave themselves. Actually, I know it's not you guys. You know, you could get somebody that comes on there and be like spewing some, I don't know, let's say some white supremacist shit on there. Some controversial shit on there. And then you can't shut them up, kind of. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need that nonsense. Okay, so this is what this simple paint job is. Of course, it's not it doesn't have any weathering on it yet. Just a simple 3 in a circle. Got the triangle on the roof. Simple 3 circle on the other side. Horus was the favorite of the God Emperor, and he turned to chaos and led a great crusade against the Imperium to destroy it. Okay. His betrayal took a number of the Imperium Space Marine chapters and other military units with him to chaos. All right, I'm with you so far. So it would be cool to have a place to post what we paint. Doesn't have to have voice. Yeah, I'm not smart enough on there. Yeah, I just use Facebook for that. I use, especially with the World War II stuff. Man, there's a lot of stuff going on. I'm a member of several World War II stuff even in this scale. There's quite a few old, crusty school people that still do things in this scale. So, yeah, yeah. I think this is a good... How many people we got on here? 5? Yeah, this is probably a good place to stop, so... you don't use Facebook, too much drama. Yeah. I don't get involved in any of it. But I love Facebook for the hobby, specifically. What I hate is email. I think email's stupid. Nobody, one person puts something, nobody looks at other people's things. It's just people tripping over themselves. So this is where we left off. The other two are that'll give me some chance to look at some paint schemes for the other two 234s. We will be back. We'll be back tomorrow unless there's thunderstorms, and continue this. But that's the way forward, is to go ahead and finish these 3 and then move on to the other ones. So, because you really can't have enough 234s. So, okay, folks, thanks for stopping by, and as always, we'll see you on the